Hello, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. It's open mic. The link's in the right-hand side in case you'd like to join the show. We're going to talk about Pillage, BP next week, and maybe some few other things along the way. There's been some nice changes from the player's side to the 130 in Pillage. So easier than last time and definitely easier than it was on the Wednesday show. But let me go ahead and introduce everybody from top to bottom. Lady Cat.
Hello.
Kenny.
Hello, hello.
And Aussie.
Good morning, everybody.
Magic Mike.
Good evening, everybody.
And Two Doors.
This is the best room for scraping into the cold, uncaring void. There's a server and mute some of the sound.
So, yeah, people could take that as you wish. So, Ben's not here tonight. It appears that they went to Burger King and he got the Impossible Whopper. And there was way too many vegetables in his system afterwards. And he had a reaction. So, hopefully we'll see him, the next show or maybe next open mic. So, let's go down to let's go to BP next week first. I think it's slide 4. Five, okay. Yeah, if anybody that's tried to read this in the forum, they'll realize it's quite difficult. There's no zoomable version, and it's quite small, so hopefully you can read it here. The next raid is Eternal Fire, 2 TLCs, and the 12 Days of Kixmas, which this is the first time they've done this, and I'm a little... I don't know. I'm on the fence as far as where to set my expectations as far as what we might actually get out of this 12 Days of Kicks. It sounds like a good idea, but it also sounds like an idea that could upset people.
Well, wait a minute. I'm reading this right now. It says starting today, which means Friday the 13th. Log in over the next 12 days to receive...
That's not today. That's a week from now.
I know, a week from now.
Okay.
It says log in to receive your free gifts. So does that mean you just log in and don't have to do anything?
Yeah.
Maybe get a free gift each day.
Yeah.
So we'll get So cool. That's cool.
Okay. Well, Captain Lucky said they did it last year. I don't know what they called it. It was just resources. I have no clue what it's going to be.
Well, it's going to be serious holiday cheer. It says so right there.
Yeah. It could be. I don't know. We'll see what they come up with this year. It's a different crew this year, so
it's going to be probably. Is it going to be random, or does everybody get the same thing?
Yeah,
they're going to give out lucky bastards.
That would be funny if it was random and some people are like, oh, I got 10,000 gold, and I'm like, oh, I got 50 oil. That would provide a lot of entertainment.
Well, that's
they're
like
give crews all lucky bastards.
And these people that get these 7-day, I hear there's a myth, but there's this legend. Maybe there's 7-day tokens out there. I've never seen one, but is this going to be the same kind of thing where, I'll get the unlucky bastard?
Yeah, at this point, what would you do with the 7-day token? Store it, like
store it for the riot. Store it from the riot.
Okay, I thought you would store it just so you could send a screenshot to Mike every once in a while. Like, hey, I got 2 7-day tokens.
Yeah,
no, I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see what shows up. It could be good, bad, mediocre. I don't know. Yeah. What does everybody think? I find it interesting that they named the ship the Riot.
It's a riot.
Yeah. I'm curious what the artwork is going to be associated with the riot. I mean, are we going to have people in masks in Hong Kong? I have no idea what's going to happen here.
Careful with that. You'll get banned from Battle Pirates for a year, then down to 6 months.
Yes. Okay. What, for mentioning Hong Kong?
Yep.
Well, they're owned by like a Swedish company, aren't they? So they didn't get bought up by Tencent like most of the other games. But I have to look at the investment in. I even forgot the name. What is the name? It's been so long. What's the name of the company that owns Kixeye? Everybody.
Stillwater or
Stillfront.
Stillfront, yeah.
Stillfront. Yeah, I don't know if Tencent bought into Stillfront at some point along the way, but so the riot. It's going to be the Fast and Fatal riot.
Because it can't be the Fast and Furious one. Oh, it's Fast.
Yes, Fast and Fatal.
Oh,
And we talked a little bit on the pre-show. Is the fact that our combat speeds continue to increase, but the actual performance of our ships, they appear to be getting slower and slower. I'm not sure what the cause of that is, but because right now, for a ship to be fast, you'd probably have to have combat speed in excess of 100 at least.
The only thing that's fast is like the suppressor.
We've had some giant heckin' maps these past few raid cycles. Maybe it just feels slow.
Yeah, but the ships are still scaled the same way. Yeah, that's what I said. I think the maps have gotten larger, but they've rescaled everything. We just feel slower. Is that what you're thinking as well?
I'm not sure. I haven't tested it. If you think stuff is slow, is it the Scoundrel? Go play with that for a minute.
The suppressor.
No, the one for Siege. The Scoundrel?
Okay. Yeah.
The suppressor would help too.
The suppressor gets fast when it goes underwater, but yeah, the Scoundrel I built and have never really used because I never found a use for it.
I tried to use it, and that was a mistake. I tried to do the thing it was supposed to do, which is zoom down the strait, and it's so fast you can't control it. Not around those tight 90-degree turns that they want from you.
Yeah.
Suppressor's real good, though.
Okay. Hey, Renato. Hey, TSM. So, Ren started playing like 2 Fridays ago. Okay.
Wow.
You fool.
Welcome back, Ren. Yeah.
You fool.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Stay away.
I don't know what happened. Maybe he was off his meds. I don't know. Or he started realizing that Kixeye was Canadian. So I have no idea what happened there. But, okay. Any thoughts on what's coming up? Any thoughts on what's going on with your... How are you preparing for this raid? Do we have the knowledge to prepare for this raid? Because I'm a little bit leery, because we saw a lot of good builds with Hyper 30s for the increased speed, but you also lose damage when you do that. And I don't know. I have not jumped over to the Hyper 30 thing yet because of the damage reduction. I'm just not, I don't know. What do you, I guess, anybody have any thoughts on that? Because you would have to take a special off to put the Hyper 30 on.
I put the Hyper 30 on.
I have Hyper 30s. Most of my prep was get flag done, get flag to X1, and then put in that CIC that gives everything a massive defense boost. And that's going to really help with just survivability. Now, I could take a Hyper 30 off and put another special on if I wanted to, but then I'm taking away refit tokens from other things. It's a little weird, but now I have the option for more damage, or it's a little faster and a little more evasion. I'm probably just going to keep the 30s on because lazy and don't have that many tokens.
Yeah. I've been reticent to put them on because yeah, even using generic tokens or whatever kind of tokens that you have, it doesn't even come close to the 24 hours. So because I run into that problem right now where I'm like, do I want to put some of these explosive armors on my silverfish? I'm like 8 hours, 24-hour tokens, and I have the hull specific ones, but do I want to do that? Because well, I guess we could transition unless anybody has anything else as far as the next raid.
There's going to be brand new targets again, which I hate that they do that because I can't count on my build that worked last time to work this time. So I'm not going to do anything until I see the targets, and I'll decide then.
Yeah.
What else can you do anymore? You have to do it last minute because they don't give you the information you need.
Yeah, because people did complain historically that you would have the old targets, but you would lose the set bonus. Now you're forced to hit the new targets at this point.
Yep.
And yeah, I agree with you. I think that you should keep the old targets, even though they effectively have split the cut the reward in half with the lack of a bonus, but it still gives players that are still trying to catch up with builds a place to go and a target to hit.
Yeah.
Now the target is completely unknown what we're going for.
And it's not fun. I know they keep telling us it is, but
Yeah,
we don't like the unknown.
yeah, the unknown is part of the fun, or whatever is Chris's statement on
That poor guy is never going to live that statement down, is he?
Well, he put it in all caps, so you put it in all caps. Okay, you gotta expect people to repeat it in the future. So
We all want the T-shirt now
the T-shirt.
with that quote on it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, with an arrow pointing down.
Or up, yeah.
yeah, okay.
However you want your arrow to point.
I almost ended a work email this week with "This warn you" at the end of it.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about on the Wednesday show. We had Kenny run through the 130, and we saw him taking a lot of damage associated with the smart torpedoes. Basically, an hour every time they hit. So he was getting hit about 3 times. At some point the next day, late in the next day, they removed the smart torpedoes. They also removed the stonefish, and they changed the pathing on the gluttony to make it much quicker to kill with the suppressor. So if you didn't hit that target before, I would go out and hit it now. It takes a little bit of time. I'm hitting it for somewhere around 30 some minutes without, like I said, I haven't made changes to my silverfish. I'm sure if I put some, the new X armors, the Xinthium ones, I could drop my damage significantly, but it's not instant in the base at 30 something minutes, but it's semi palatable. Does anybody else?
I didn't even play Wednesday after I saw the show and saw how bad it was. I just decided I wasn't going to do Pillage. So I'm really glad they changed it, and I tried it, and it's doable now. So I appreciate that they did that.
Yeah, I got about 40 minutes, and that's without a crew, so it's not too awful.
Yeah.
I hit it blind day one. I didn't even watch the show. I mean, I was just going to hit a couple targets before I went to bed and let it repair because I didn't care. And I took a lot of damage, but that's because I didn't use a suppressor prep. And the smart torpedoes were really, really fast.
Yeah.
Like, usually it would be if you turned when they got close to the green ring of your smart torp killing aura and went away from them, you'd get them pretty safely. I think I only have 2 smart torp auras on, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But now it was just it just plows right into you. You'd have to be going away from it, and even then you might not still make it. But it's glad that they took that out. I haven't checked the other changes because yesterday I did the Praetorian targets with the tank for just under an hour's damage because I didn't really care. It's nice, but Pillage there just isn't much in the store that to care about. It's not.
Yeah, like it's the way it was presented, they brought it back as being a catch-up mechanism. But yeah, it's there's stuff to get in there. But yeah, I understand what you're saying as far as it appears that we're getting minimal gains with the lethal strike warhead over the surgical strike, and the explosive, the explosive sync drive is, seeing its day. It's like, it's like the, if Britney Spears decided to come out now as a star, as opposed to when she was, 20 or 18 or 20 years old. Come out at 40 or whatever. How old is she now?
I don't
No.
Where?
But I am glad that the Pillage prize store is kind of lackluster. Like it's nice to have. If we're caught up, then that's great. And Ren just put in chat there that as a returning player, it's great for him, and that's what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Mhm.
He can get all, if he didn't have surgical strike warheads, he could get all those specials and maybe more hyper 30s because they seem to go on a lot of things now.
Yeah.
And the War Pegasus and all this stuff, and who knows what else. And if we're all set with all that stuff, then you get flag upgrades for your Praetorian, and that's good. If you can work in the time to do it, it's certainly a good option. I think even with upgrade tokens and all that, I think a lot of us are still tight on time.
Yeah.
But it's good that there's only marginal gains in Pillage, I think.
Okay. Well, we got the important,
38,
yeah, she's 38. We got the important
according to Candy Apple.
yeah, we got the important answer at that point. So, if she came out, broke on the scene at 38, as opposed to Candy Apple will later tell us how old she was when she originally started. But that's what I feel about the explosive sync drive and the new folded ferrite armors that they put out. They could have put them out way earlier and then gave us the specialist armors later. It just, I don't know. It appears that they messed up some of their monetization.
Even still, though, like, even with just upgrades, even just getting, I don't even have them Praetorians to U2 yet. I need one left. And then there's the flag. And then I'm only getting my Pegasus flag to X1. That's still, 20 days minus the 5 tokens. And then you've got, about 15-ish days the other way. That's still a month's worth of time without any builds going into it, and with getting most of the upgrade tokens that are out there.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need the new armors. If they had those here, I think a lot of us would be complaining that, now we have to specialize into all of these armors, and that's going to take more time. Although in this situation that might also work because we're coming up on it. I didn't build anything this month, and I need to think of something to build to use my tokens so that I can open my FM chests and then claim the chests from this week's FM so that I have a full stock. Otherwise, I'm wasting tokens because I spent the whole month upgrading. So I guess there'd be a way to work that in pretty naturally as well.
Yeah. It is a struggle to spend your FM tokens, unless you're, a situation like Ren, where he's come back to the game because so much of your time at this point in your shipyard is spent upgrading, not building anymore, and it's much more difficult to get the tokens for that. I really wish the generic tokens went both ways, but yeah.
I didn't even do DFM last week. Not one single target. Because there was no reason.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
If you're
There was
if you're all
something that I
set for
wanted.
limited armors,
Yep.
I've claimed all the X armors, and like right now, I'm thinking about putting the silverfish on, even though we saw James has put the X armor on his silverfish. He said it made zero difference. And I think one panel should be enough to see some level of difference. And I have enough to put on 4 ships, and I've claimed them all. So I wouldn't say that there's no value associated with.
Which armor are you talking about? The ZX one? Which one?
Yeah.
I got,
Yeah, the
10
ZX.
I got 10 of them sitting there. I mean, it's like,
Okay. Well, we need in the after show figure out where you're missing.
yeah.
Because
it's like-
I have 3 on. I think I have 3 on all my Praetorians. I have 4 on a couple of them, and I've claimed them all, and I have 4 left. And that's what I'm saying is, I have 4 left that I could potentially put on the silverfish, but they're an 8-hour. They're an 8-hour build, and I have tokens for the silverfish,
Mhm.
but I have a hard time spending a 24-hour Praetorian token on an 8-hour
Yep.
refit.
Yep.
And I know you would have an issue with that as well.
I would, yes. I mean, with my OCD, it's like when I do FM, it's I go until there's no more prizes to collect. So I have a lot of those. I took a week off. Didn't last week.
Yeah, and James has a good thing that the explosive sync drive could be for the next raid fleet, because we're going to see skirmish, and explosive is one of those damage types. We already have concussive sync drive, so I could see a combination of concussive for the accuracy based torpedoes maybe, and then explosive for the splash damage. Yeah, I think it will have a use. It's just I'm just saying it would have had more use
Earlier.
4 months ago to put on the Praetorians than it would now. So I'm not saying don't claim them. I'm just not rushing out to put them on my Praetorians at this point.
bye everybody. Time for me.
Okay. Later, Brian.
Yeah.
Take care, Brian.
So there's empty spots, people, in case you want to pop on and discuss your pillage or anything else. So I don't know. What else do we have to talk about that's happened in the last day or two, or the last month or two? Dum dum dum. All right.
I'm just hanging in as best I can. I don't get all the prizes every FM like I used to. I'll just kind of piddle, just waiting for it to be more interesting. I guess when it goes to HTML5, it'll start getting better again.
Well, I would expect more bug fixes at that point, but I don't expect it to become more interesting as far as gameplay. I don't know.
Well, maybe because I'll have more time to devote to gameplay and not to.
Yeah, I'm not sure that those are the same people, but yeah, Ninja Penguin's new prizes are added to Pillage. Yes, that is true. Comrant is probably the biggest one, but personally, I don't see a lot unless you're, haven't been playing the game for a year or so. I don't know. Does anybody else see a lot there?
No, nothing there.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's
It's all old holes.
yeah. So yeah, it's you know, you know, it's a good point as far as skirmishes coming up again. So there may be a need to get more comrades. So I could potentially see that. The other question I've had is the do you want to go to slide let's see, slide 3. And the people that have the Silver Strike turret in their base, is it worth having in your base at this point? These screenshots of the stat blocks are from left to right, is from beginning to end. The only thing that's not really reflected here is the fact that in the original incarnation, it had a 180-degree arc. The last two have 90-degree arcs. Since the last incarnation, is it worth getting if you didn't get it before in Pillage?
Don't know. I haven't been hit, so I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to be worth it.
For everything I've read in the forums, or heard people talking about in comms, they say it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's just not worth even if you have it, putting on.
I think you just have to, like everything else in this game, you have to have it in the right place at the right time, with the right steps. So if you've can place it well and you're good at that, then maybe it's worth it. But I think it was TSM that used to tell us it's just another tool, and it's to put in your tool belts.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of nice to have all the tools. You know you might need it.
He never came up to me and said this is just another tool. So I acted like everybody's tool is special. So Ben, is that you there? Did you get over the Impossible Whopper?
Kinda, but yeah, it's me. How's everyone doing?
Hi, Ben.
Pretty good. And yourself?
As well as I can do.
Okay, very good.
And I hate to tell you guys I'm gonna live.
Well, we're glad.
Okay. We're glad to hear that.
Very glad to hear that. Those Whoppers, you just never know.
You never know how they're going to impact the system.
Yeah.
Good to hear you, buddy.
Thanks. But I just wanted to stop and say hi. I gotta get back out of here.
Okay.
I'll be listening though.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, we'll be
All
thinking about you.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.
Later.
Take care.
Yep.
Later, Ben. So, I don't know. What else? What else should we be talking about tonight? After we've been talking about the, since the UAV turret sounds like a I don't know.
It's useful for people like me that don't want to build the unsnipeable island. That's the only thing I can see it useful for. Like everybody's got this generic little island in the middle of a atoll,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't want to do that, then this thing can shoot any of the snipers.
Yeah, but okay, because I looked at mine and it's like the heavy launcher is comes right to the edge. I mean, but this is like, what's the maximum range of the heavy launcher? Like 170 something, and this has a minimum of 265. So there's like, it does would cause some repositioning.
But it positions things near the outside of your base where you can prep, so it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So I've got them overlapping, one on each end, covering each other, which halves the amount of damage again, because now you can't get two of them to bear. You have one at one side of the base shooting the other way, and one at the other side shooting across. The minimum range is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not helpful.
It was completely useless until they unnerfed it a bit, but now it's only partially useless.
Yeah. It's
You can just hug the inside of somebody's outside rim and avoid even except for the best positioning ones. It's kind of ridiculous. It only shoots outside the base, basically. And how long
yeah.
do you stand outside the base these days? Once you know where somebody's portals are, you come in there, you're in its range for a few seconds, and it's over. It stops firing.
Yeah. So then you would have to rely on your ships most likely, because if you've invested heavily in your heavy transformers with such a long range weapon, your normal
Exactly.
normal turrets that aren't
That's why
countermeasures or whatnot
I've heard,
are really
I've
doing.
heard, I've heard proposals to make it available on the other turrets. Then it would become slightly useful again.
Mhm.
But right now, I'm thinking of switching my HTs back again because I did lose a lot of power inside my base.
Okay.
I actually agree with that. I would, if they put it on a regular turret, it could work better for us. We didn't have to use up a heavy.
But right now, on a heavy, unless they give us more heavy turrets in this new release or something, I don't see I'm going to keep it. And it doesn't hurt that bad either. I mean,
Not now.
anybody well, that's what I mean. I mean, I've seen the UAVs go out and not any red show up on the ships it's hitting. All they probably need is one of the higher end penetrative armors, and they probably shrug it off. I've never done that stat. I wonder if with all three of the damage increases that you put on it, whether you'd still breach the what's it called, the
Deflection.
of the average armored ship. I don't think it does. I don't think it gets above its deflection.
Yeah, I think only time's going to tell on whether this is any good or not.
Somebody good with math can probably tell us if it'll even breach deflection. I've given up calculating stacking bonuses and stuff.
Well, I never did.
Yeah, me too.
If there's math involved, I wait for Hefe to figure it out.
I was fine. I was fine with this as a space damage and add 35%, but then when they stack weird ways, forget it.
Speaking of stacking, does anybody have different engines on their Praetorians? Do you have a problem getting the waypoints to work correctly?
I always
have
got the
that
same
condition.
engine, so I don't have that problem.
See, I didn't have the pen drives when I first built my Praetorian, so I put Assault on it. But then I tried one of the original resistors, pen resistors, as well, just to see if it did any better. But then I started picking up the pen sync drives, so I put some of those on there now. So basically I have 3 different engines over 5 ships. And they work fine stacked, driving at normal, but when I use waypoints, they get all wonky. Just wondering if anyone else had that problem. They should still stay stacked.
I can't think of any reason why they wouldn't, other than kick side math.
Yeah. I guess I need the same engine on every ship. But you'd think the sync drives would make them stay within range, but like my flag will outrun the rest of the ships.
Do they all have the same turning speed too?
I don't know.
Check that, because maybe one's turning and getting ahead of the others.
Maybe that's
Hang on, what engines have you got on? Are they all sync drives now?
No, I have a
that's
saw.
why.
Yeah, I have a salt, at least one or two, one penetrator resistor, and the rest are the pen sync drives.
Yeah, that's why, because they're not syncing up.
Right. They're not, but only when I use waypoints, they work just fine stacked and driving. I don't have any problems with them staying together, even turning. They turn together. It's only with the waypoints where I have trouble.
The only thing I can guess is that, well, it can't be turning speed.
Yeah, they stay stacked when they're stacked.
Yeah.
It's probably not that big a deal. I'll eventually get all the pen drives.
Cuttlefish. I don't. I have sync drives on mine. They stay stacked. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'm not running into that issue, and I'm not even sure how to replicate that.
Is Cuddle having? I can't see chat. Is Cuddle having the same problem?
Yeah. And he has hyper 30s on all of them, and I have the same thing. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't have that issue. So
Okay, mine is just with the waypoints. It works fine. Very well.
Yeah. Cuddle, is your issue with the waypoints? Even if it's fully ranked, the sync drive should still keep them in common. The issue I run into the waypoints personally is after I set like 2 or 3, they seem to fall apart. So I only allow them to, I set them for 3 or 4, but I recorrect them and set them again after 1 or 2. That's why, on the Wednesday show, when Kenny ran through them, and I was like, wow, what are you doing? All your ships are responding to your waypoints correctly. And I thought that was I'm not sure what the right word was, impressive or, not what happens with me. So
Fortunate for me.
So should we be reporting this to Kick so they can look into it?
Well, Chuck says ranked affects turning, but
Mine are ranked. Mine are all skulled.
Yeah.
Check in their stats to see if they all have the same turning speed.
I'm pretty sure they do. But I will check. But yeah.
But the issue with the sync drive is it's supposed to match combat speed and turn speed. So there's something wrong. And even if in a straight line, Cuttlefish is getting this issue. Are they all the same sync drive? I don't know.
Wait, be careful. That the sync drive brings you down to the lowest one, but if one of her ships has better turn speed than the sync drive, it won't speed up its turn speed to match.
But if one of them has better, it would slow that one down. If they
it'd slow its turn speed and speed. But if any one of those other engines have better turn speed, I could see a waypoint getting screwed up by that.
But if they all have sync drives on.
In that case, no. But I was talking about.
Right, mine are all different, but I could drive it stacked and they'd all be fine.
Yeah, but Cuttlefish is running into a similar issue, but he has all sync drives. So there's some bug.
Something else going on then.
Yeah, and I'm wondering. That's why I asked the question if he has all the same sync drives. So if he had different, it's a bug either way. But if he had different sync drives and they're creating different performance, they're not working together as well. Maybe that's the issue. I have no idea.
I don't think it's turn speed. It's because when you do the 128s, I normally just put in 3 waypoints. And by the time I get to the end, which is, going basically from the top left to the top right, making that little V shape, my flag Praetorian's way out of the circle of the other ships.
Okay.
So I really don't think it's turn speed.
Well, and also in my experience with sync drives, it also does the same thing with combat speed and turn speed. So turn speed really shouldn't be an issue because it just says speed. And I've always gotten them to stack well. I don't know if it would be an interesting thing to look at for kick size perspective as far as what might be causing that.
I'll have to do a video next time and send it to Get and just let them know.
Yeah. But I'm more, because Cuttlefish has all sync drives, and he's also running into this issue. And I don't know what to say. I mean, whatever Kenny's got going on as far as the sync drives and the waypoints is excellent. I just don't know how to replicate it. I don't know if it's part of his computer, part of his build, or
Could be the browser version even.
yeah. So
maybe it's skins.
Yeah, they're multicolored.
Yeah. Cuttlefish has got 5 different skins on all of his ships.
Don't you have different skins on yours too?
Yeah, all 5 of mine are different.
I don't have any. Mine are all the same.
Yes. So yeah.
Well,
that would cause an issue as far as don't they identify them as different? They have different ship IDs, or are they at different U levels? That might be also an issue if they're different upgrade levels, because they identify different upgrade levels as being different ships. So I think now we're just speculating.
No, they were, but now they're all the same. As of tonight, and I still have the problem, so they're all U1s now.
Okay.
So that's not it either. Okay. Well, Cuddle and I will have to send our tickets.
Yeah. So is there anything else since
Oh, there's a time limited offer. I'm considering it. 100 gold plus either 2 one-day build tokens or 2 8.5 upgrades. Something like that. What do you think? Is that a good deal?
Well, is it upgrade just general 8 to 8.5 upgrades or a specific?
I said 8.5, but I can't remember if it was assault or what it was.
Okay. Well, if you're somebody that's going to buy gold, as far as I know, there's no gold sale going on right now. If you're somebody that buys gold, it's basically the price you're going to buy the gold at, and you get the rest of it.
Right.
So we are expecting in the not the next update, but the following update, we're going to see things associated with the we're seeing some upgrades and labs and resource generators and things like that. So there might be a use for the structure build tokens.
It's not structure or ship.
Well, isn't one structure build and one's ship upgrades?
I thought they were both ship. I thought one was a ship build and one was.
They're both ship.
Yeah.
One's
Okay,
ship tokens, the other one's ship upgrades.
Okay.
One thing before everybody goes is you can do the drag. If you're still into the megas, the dragoons can do the campaigns, which is handy because they do it pretty nicely.
Okay.
Something to add.
Well, Cuttlefish, just come on the show, demo it, and then just you don't need to make a video, and you can just send it at that point in time, and then all good. They can just see it there. You don't need to edit anything or publish it or whatnot. They can just you can just post it this way. So So, alrighty. Well, if Cuddle's not coming on with that, I guess we're gonna end for the evening if nobody else has much else to say. Alrighty. And Cuddle, I assume you're not coming on. So you all have a good pillage. And see you all again on Wednesday.
Bye, everybody.
Night out.
Bye.
Right.
Later, people.